Hello. Really excited to be here. I love when National Poetry Month comes around and we can do cool things like this. So thanks so much, AQR, for having me. I'm going to start with a poem that is in the winter spring 2021 issue, um, and then we'll go from there. So if you don't know this reference, you've almost certainly heard it referred to. There's these old commercials for Tootsie Pops, Tootsie Roll Tootsie Pops, in which this boy was going around asking how many licks it takes to get to the center. And he goes to this owl, Mr. Owl, and asks him that question. So this poem is based around that character. It's called After the Passing of Mr. Owl, the boy, still uncertain of how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll, to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop asks, Mister, what is there at my center? Yours. How do you feel about what clings to the trees? About a neck that turns all the way around? Mister, why do you count so fast? Why are you so impatient? Why are you so uncomfortable with my questions? Mister, I can't find Mr. Owl. Will you leave too? Kid, I can't count the ways I tried to get under my own skin. Was better at it sometimes than others. Not sure what I wanted to find though, or why. It is true. Each Tootsie Roll center has the same flavor, but it'll taste different depending on which colored exterior still has residue on the tongue. But don't get me started about trees or owls. Those seedy carnivorous fuckers. Just ask the mouse how wise the bird is when it's rising off the forest floor with talons in its back. But I will note this. Where we lived, we didn't have forests. I don't think I even ever saw an owl until I was 19. For that matter, I didn't think I'd make it to 19. For that matter, I grew up accustomed to small numbers. Miles to walk from school to home, 2. Number of houses away from home, I was allowed to ride my bike 5, or 4 if we measure it in trees. And this was before I developed a fear of bicycles, along with my fear of everything else. Some numbers start to grow larger though. Number of dogs we had growing up at various times was at least 5 that I remember. Number of years I wanted to get out of there, 14. I don't mean that hood in Detroit. I mean that house. I mean my skin wavering like loose shingles, my fingers itching to taste the meat of me. Okay, we'll get into some more poems. These other poems are very new, like written within the last couple of months new. This first one is dedicated to my dad. A couple of months ago, he was very sick with COVID, and he has recovered a lot and is doing all right now. But for a moment, it was not looking particularly good. So this was a poem I wrote during that time. It's called Pushing a Broken Cart Through the Unplowed Target Parking Lot. Today, my father told my sister, don't forget me, as his lungs seem to be forgetting how to draw air. 4,000 miles from him to her, another 1,000 from her to me. Breathing heavy now, I'm not sure I'll make it to my car. I get stuck and push, my huffed breaths appearing as smoke, can barely cross the lot, let alone an ocean. At home, an expired passport. Here, in the cold, I forget to put my gloves on before I step back outside. Dad would have scolded me. How are your knuckles, son? Remember, it's easier to get sick through the cracks. My skin never forgets how to break. To cold, dry, and open cross-stitch lines into delta a wound. The lines like the branches of bronchi. I know it's bad because he actually says it's bad. I suggest an oximeter, but know they're less accurate on dark skin. I tire of the trope of a Black man's breath. We are lucky this is not what will take him, but before recovery can begin, I remember once, years ago, I was still up late, and the malfunctioning fire alarm woke him. My father, martial arts master, who taught me new ways to break my fall. Poster boy for composure, the most balanced man I know, startled, disoriented, tripped as he stepped from his dark bedroom doorway. I did not know how to fix the alarm, and caught in the surprise of seeing my father fall, I could not see how to help him up. Okay, I'm just gonna check my timer. Okay. This poem is called Unwell. Also, if there's a weird sound in the background, it's my radiator that's having problems. Maintenance hasn't come yet, but maybe the mic isn't picking it up. Unwell. From which springs the undeveloped serotonin, seraphim of fear, familiar shadow under each set of wings. Is this of what our elders warned? Is this the dark through which we must weep, swept in the dull whip of whispers, ripped from stacked carved rock to the residue of debris slithering in the water? I reside with no base for baseline, the cost of madness, hoping it won't pull us apart. Is this what's wrought, what we were meant to reap? A shout that echoes up the enclosed corridor, down in a sick system, a quickening sickness, reaching into dark toward each imploding nova. Every nigga is a star. Some stars burn bright, a billion years just to burn out. What then is the difference between shoot and fall? I ended up down at rock bottom, embedded in bedrock, drowning in aquifer, bound to underground current. I held the hammer, hoping to fix, got dizzy on a wheel meant to build, and became ceramic vessel cracked, called insane, called by inside voices blaring outside voice. Vehicle for both the underground river and the one adrift on unraveling raft. A slip back to future and past, the present bubbling with what's repressed. I guess depression binds to the soil's nutrients and weaves into the tree's leaves veins, the grasses blades, an anxious knife obsessed. At some point, we slipped from lawn to where we hoped to draw what will satiate, but then we slipped in, unheard splash, and now we hope, at least, if someone lowers the bucket, it won't be too slippery to grip. Okay, let's see. I am going to do two more poems. I'm gonna pull a poem from my chapbook here, Capable Monsters. And this book is, it was a lot of fun to put together. It uses the references or kind of the encyclopedia from the Pokemon video games as kind of a through line. I promise it still makes sense if you know nothing about Pokemon, but there are a lot of references and it uses that kind of as an organizing device. So a lot of these poems are titled after entries in the Pokemon Pokédex. So there's the name and number of the Pokemon, and then there's a quote, and so that kind of kicks off the poem, and then it goes into it from there. So this one is Pokédex entry number 131, which is the Pokemon Lapras. And the Pokédex encyclopedia says, people have driven Lapras almost to the point of extinction. In the evenings, this Pokemon is said to sing plaintively as it seeks what few others of its kind still remain. You find yourself in a dark room where Drake and Snoop and Kendrick play at a dance party you stumbled into, and again you hear nigga over white speakers, and uncomfortable only begins to explain how you feel, and you're the only Black person in the room like you've been so often, and People are trying to get you to dance, but you just want to leave. Shit, you just want to leave, but they want you to dance, to enjoy this. On the anniversary of Michael Brown's death, on a day where you feel so few and wish to sing the song of your own, authentic and rugged and sweet, and the circle of people feels like a circus ring, or maybe more like a cage, or maybe more like a ring of thieves, and you say to yourself, it's just music. I mean, it's just a birthday party. I mean, it's just people having fun. Just the smell of booze and sweat in a dark room where people are just people and just celebrating. But that doesn't stop you from feeling out of place and scared, profoundly upset, to say the least. Because you know your people keep dying while your music plays at parties where before you walked in, there were no Black people. So you leave and go listen to your own rap music from your own iTunes, on your own headphones, on your own laptop, to hear the songs of us trying to remain, to survive, despite, to sing something, to find each other again. Okay, thank you all again for having me. I'm gonna read just one more poem. This poem is called Glint. Glint. The deep rainbow of oil slicked in the supermarket parking lot calls to me with its dark beauty, to step in and paint dirty my already worn white shoes. At camp, the bonfire's reaching tongues ascended to try to lick the tree. I would throw whatever trash I had in to see what colors the garbage would burn, turn from waste to green or purple glow. Fall. The horse pulled a hayride and I traced the patterned indentations the straw left on my thighs. I can no longer see oil and not think of the ocean bloated with it. A duck or otter mucked with viscous liquid, now just black and not glinting. I can't see a horse without thinking of the bloodied day when the marchers were met on the bridge and trampled, baton and hoof making fragile work of brown encased bone. How's that for nonviolence? Even the ocean catches fire with enough oil or gas. Even a gas can eat through an atmosphere or a lung. I can't stop clearing my dry throat and the groans sink into metronome, turn music to pain and itch. Nathaniel West, a lesser known modernist, writes, "The physical world has a tropism for disorder, entropy. I can't stop building monuments to the chaos. I can't stop adoring the blood's cool crimson, how it insists on spilling out, sometimes even from a small nick. I tell my psychiatrist, I've gotten very good at finding the beauty in this awful and awe-filled world, but it gets hard to feel it. The head can hold knowledge that the body rejects." Nathaniel again, "All order is doomed, yet the battle is worthwhile. I'm still reaching like that polluted fire. I'm hoping if I reach the branch, I use it not to burn down, but to climb up." Thank you.